players have managed to get into the battle nets via the internets. And it's time to kick this series off. My name is Day 9.
And my name is Husky. Sean, we are setting up for the very first game. I'm super excited. Are you guys excited out there? I never get tired of those boomsticks. So
that is true. The thunder sticks, of course, clapping is not loud enough to represent the cheering enthusiasm of the SC2 or LOL community. So we managed to level it up. Yes. Now, I wanted to introduce these two teams that we are watching play today. Let's go ahead and begin with Team Epic Systems, a team from the Midwest that makes medical software. And interestingly, they only have 5,200 employees, but their team is almost all masters and complexities. RSVP used to work there.
I did not know that. He ended up winning the GSPA, Sean, so they are just there's a crazy little Starcraft factory over there.
And of course, as we heard from the team captain, they are playing for Doctors Without Borders. The second team that is playing today will be Team IBM, playing for Youth Services America. They were the #2 ranked team here, and they have, again, almost 500,000 worldwide employees.
That's a lot.
Husky for the fill-in color commentary.
Absolutely, Sean.
Now, I know you've gotten the chance to see some of the AHGL last season and this season. I mean, what were some of the big favorite moments and favorite teams that you were watching and following throughout?
Well, absolutely. Zynga, I think, did so well in the last season. And
taking third this year.
Yeah, making it so close, but we're not going to have a repeat as we have a complete different finals, two different teams here. And, you know, IBM's a pretty big company. They've been around for a couple of years. So
yeah, IBM, I think, is over 100 years old, which means that their employees have had a lot of time to prepare for this tournament.
100 years, Sean.
So the first map we'll be playing on will be Metalopolis, which is one of those classic standard maps. It's going to be a ZVT to open things up. How do you generally see this map playing out in this matchup?
Well, basically every game you see in a tournament ever is played on this map, as all the players will have had plenty of time to practice on it, and it does look like they are both going to be ready, Sean. And what an awesome way to start the first game. ZVT, I did a poll. One of people's favorite matchups out there.
Yeah, and it looks like we want to introduce the players a little bit. Playing for Team IBM will be Great Archon. I would say didn't play as much as some of the other players throughout the season. There he is with the IBM sweatband. And you know, one of the great things about this tournament is that every single team, when they get to the finals, has a fully decked out IBM gear, has a fully decked out team gear. And look at this, Stephen Current, just a normal person like you or I.
Absolutely. So there's all of his, not so much stats, more of his bio going on that screen. So that's going to be our first player, which means there is also a second player. And Sean, I'm quite in love with this name, Crabtastic.
That's right, Crabtastic playing for Team Epic. Team Epic has been virtually undefeated throughout the entire season. You know, there's that infamous tiebreaker point, not your game score, but the overall amount of wins. Team Epic has 26 more wins than losses.
Oh my goodness. And also, he's wearing a shirt that just says college on it. So he is officially representing every school in the entire world with this game. And I believe that both of the players are ready, Sean.
Well, the players have indeed said that it is time to go. So there was the good luck, have fun, good game. Match 1 is about to begin at the After Hours Gaming League Grand Finals, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to begin. Game number 1 is going to be on Metalopolis, and the big question on everyone's mind, is it going to be those close by air positions or close not at all positions?
All right. So spawning up in the top center side, Sean. It is answering the question now as they are spawning close by air. Oh, look at that. They are being friendly, but they are not going to be friends here for very long as they're going to be duking it out. Spawning up in the top center for Team Epic, it is Crabtastic.
And spawning in the right position from Team IBM. Wait, we haven't introduced him yet. It's going to be Great Archon. And, you know, of course, experience does play a big role. Crabtastic has gotten a chance to play a lot of games throughout the AHGL. Great Archon has not been quite as active.
And one of my favorite aspects of this tournament, Sean, is neither of these players have probably ever played in front of just their mom when they're playing StarCraft 2. So to be playing in front of an audience this big, I would probably be playing terrible. So no pressure there, but good luck, guys.
It is true, they are playing over on in the Red Bull isolation booth at the far side of the auditorium, so that does mean that if they're used to, taking their shoes off when they play and putting their feet up, none of that now. It's serious business.
We do have a great Archon. Going to be doing some pretty standard walling here for this matchup. The Overlord for Craptastic is going to be spotting that close by air spawn, so Mutalisk always going to be a threat. And also, when both players are expanding, they're not really expanding closer and closer to their opponent like you do on some maps. So we could potentially see a pretty long game here, but you got to watch out for drops, and you got to watch out for the mutas.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that on this map, virtually any form of, potentially any aggression you could get thrown off a little bit that you might be unprepared for. A few too many Hellions. If you see them come out the base and it's cross-map positions, you have that time to build up those defenses. Not on this map, in these positions. And in fact, of all the maps left in the StarCraft 2 map pool, this one has the closest by ground position.
Yeah, and that's very crucial to note. Also, for a Zerg player, he's going to have to make sure to really do a lot of scouting. I mean, of course, that's very important for Zerg players in any matchup, but on this map, there's only that one lane of attack on the ground. And for a Zerg player, you want to try and get those great surrounds and all that. On this map, you're not able to do that as much. Now, we do have the hatchery going to be finishing up here in just a moment, the spawning pool as well. And Sean, do you have any predictions based on these two players alone? You said one has had more experience, but do you think he's going to be the one to take it?
Craptastic is one of the stronger players from Team Epic. I mean, note that all of them are indeed really, really solid players in their own right, but I got to give the favor a little bit to Craptastic. I do know Great Archon is one of the strong players on Team IBM. Looks like he's going to be opening up with that Reactor Hellion build. And SCD manages to sneak back up, and there's the reactor planting down. In that unit station, we do see that he does have the 2 Marines out, hasn't tried to do any aggression at all, but Craptastic's got to be so careful.
Yeah, just trying to push out that Overlord to deny that further scouting. Now, it is going to take a Zergling to have to scout up that ramp, but if he does indeed decide to scout the ramp, he's going to see the add-on here. Anytime you do see a Terran player go for a 2 depot and a barracks wall in, it does limit the amount of builds that they're actually going to be doing. The factory opening going to be something that I think Craptastic has probably practiced against a lot. But following it up with a command center, what do you think about this, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really solid standard play from Great Archon, but, like you're saying, it's really close by ground position, so this can be a little bit hairier to deal with. You can't quite deal with those roach counterattacks nearly as well, but especially a lot of Zerg players who are used to playing in that defensive mindset. Wow, look at this from Craptastic, throwing down 3 extractors all at once, throwing down an evolution chamber as well. But do you think he's going to have enough to deal with this big Hellion play?
It's going to be tough, and you have to remember on this map as well, a little Zergling action going down at the expansion does delay that depot, so he needs to make sure he doesn't get supply block there. But you do have to remember on this map, there is a lot of surface area for those Hellions to get in and out of there, so he's going to have to make sure to get those units out right now. Now, we do see the Evo chamber has completed, but it is in a space that doesn't really limit the amount of the surface area I was talking about. So if he does build up about 4 Hellions, which he absolutely is, he has 2 now, 2 more on the way, he just has to make sure he has enough units out to prevent those Hellions from getting behind that mineral line.
Uh-oh, Craptastic. Going to lose control of that watchtower. Great Archon continuing to move forward. Looks like Craptastic, he's overlooking everything. I mean, his overlords are absolutely everywhere. It looks like one's going to try to suicide in, but woo, great snipe right there by Great Archon. Going to deny all that vision. And now Craptastic under a little bit of duress from those Hellions.
Well, so far he's getting a lot of free hits on the Hellions there. They do manage to escape, but you do not want to be taking that much damage versus the Queens, as the Hellions do slightly outrange them by that 2 extra range. And we do have a Spine Caller going to be going down here. So it does look like Craptastic will be okay. That was kind of a tense moment, although the 3 Hellions are up here right now. He's going to try and run them into the middle line, and he is able to one-shot these drones that are mining gas. I love how he's focusing down the ones on the gas. He's going to get some drones as well. This is going to get surprised with that damage, Sean.
He's trying to pull back up to the top side. It looks like he has trapped himself along that backside, and now he's going to try to start moving in.
Does manage to escape there with those 2 Hellions, losing 1 Hellion there. And if we take a look at the workers killed, 6 workers overall have been killed. I would say that was worth it, Sean.
I mean, Husky, the crowd seems to love it when he lines them up.
Indeed.
Tries to take down as many of those drones as possible. And it looks like Craptastic not missing a beat. We're just going to continue to expand that creep, getting, it looks like the fast 1-1 upgrades. He may very well be going for that Stefano style of mass upgraded Zerglings followed up by Infestors. Can be quite good at defense, but in these close positions, it's difficult to deal with an extremely fast Terran push. And it looks like Great Archon going for 2 Barracks Marauder and still making those Hellions.
All right, we do have the 1-1 like you were mentioning, but we also have 8 roaches on the way.
Oh my.
Is he looking to be aggressive with these, Sean, or are these more defensive for those more Hellions?
Well, it's great to get some roaches to play defensively as long as you're either A, going to get a fast third, or B, going to try to do some sort of push. Definitely think that it's going to be leaning more towards that second option, given these incredibly close by ground positions. And look at that creep continue to expand down to that center side of the map. Team IBM's Great Archon has a lot of Marauders and Hellions there, and he's going to have to reveal them.
Oh, I do like this unit composition here, but you mentioned revealing them. Those Zerglings were able to scout exactly what was going on here. Looking at the units tab, there's still those 2 OG original Marines, and it has been all Hellions and Marauders from here on out. This is a very interesting unit composition to use as Terran because the Hellions very good versus the Zerglings, and the Marauders are good versus the Roaches, but it is going to take a lot of micro to make sure that the right units are attacking the right units. Although look at Crabtastic continuing with that creep spread as he is planting down a lot of those creep tumors. That's going to allow him to continue the aggression here, and it does look like Crabtastic. He's like what he's seen, and he's going to go ahead and do a little poke here.
And it looks like we have literally the anti-Roach Zergling Force Hellion Marauder with Stim now following it up, likely with some sort of double medevac production. This is going to be very effective as long as Crabtastic is on relatively low tech. And here's the engagement. Oh no! Oh no, the Roaches are so slow. They're on three.
It does look like the Hellions got to be softening.
Oh, and there's the Stim. We have a couple of SCVs on auto repair. The Zerglings are doing a lot of good damage, but the Hellions are able to pull back to the backside, and Crabtastic is going to get cleaned up.
Now, one important thing to note, though, is that the supplies are 73 to 60. So if Great Archon does not do a lot of damage here, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, especially if he stops to do the creep tumor cleanup. I don't think that'll be the right answer, but look at how many Queens are on the field. 5 Queens down here to combat these repairing SCVs. Roaches able to clean this up, and he is going to hold.
Like Crabtastic in the retreat, or in the offensive. Force retreat. Oh no, a couple of auto SCVs. Oh no, the move command, the pressure of being under so much attacking.
Sean, that is the build order that always makes me lose my games. That move command build is not good, as there's just another Marauder streaming up there.
Oh
he
no,
definitely wants to rally around the Roaches. Gonna have his Stims to get out of there. Sean, I guess drugs are a good idea if you're getting chased by that many Roaches.
That is true, man. He needs at the very least something to calm down. Great Archon now trying to rebuild a force. Now these Roaches will fall fairly quickly to this nice force of Marine Marauder, but still, Great Archon just has these barracks rallied up to the front of the map, pulling more and more back. And this is what happens when you're under these high-pressure situations. A lot of those basics that you're so used to doing every time in, time out ends up just not quite following through, and woo, Nidus Network coming up for Crabtastic.
All right, here we go. It does look like the bunker is completed with the wounded Marauders inside, so he's got to make his army as good as he possibly can. He may be able to hold here for now, but did force the cancel on that command center, and here we go. It does look like Crabtastic going to commit here. The Marauders in a pretty good spot, but you got to remember, there's nothing to deal with those Zerglings cost effectively. Once again, cancels the command center.
Oh no, Husky at the top of the base, a Nidus Worm.
There it is. It's Terran's first nightmare, Sean.
And there it is, coming right out.
Oh, the drones! There's drones in there, Sean!
Oh, no way. Is he going to be offensive spine crawler pushing at the very least? Great Archon heard that Nidus Network. He is coming back to retreat, and the drones stepping into the fray, Mike.
You don't underestimate those drones, man. They do have that +1 armor. We'll see if there's more reinforcements coming out of the Nidus Worm. Now, the positioning of the Marauders, once again, is pretty good. You can see the Zerglings coming up quite a bit, but he is forced to pull off the SCVs there to try and hold this.
Oh, what?
This is not going to be cost-effective for a Terran player.
Oh, Crabtastic. Starting off trying to talk a little bit of building style trash to let his opponent know that he can even sneak drones in there. But Great Archon from Team IBM still not giving up. We see Crabtastic continuing to stream into that main base.
Absolutely. I mean, the main base is completely locked down at this point. Great Archon trying to mic around as much as he possibly can. He is still mining at that expansion, so he can continue producing units here. But taking a look at the units lost tab, it's almost double for our Terran player. And yeah, those 3 Hydralisk dens there, just adding insult to injury here. This is not looking very great for Great Archon.
Oh, Crabtastic just overwhelming his opponents with units, has the third base up, everything rallied back to the Nidus Network in the main, and look how many units are in there locked and loaded. And these 3 Hydros, he could research groove spines from any of them, huh?
Oh, he could. It's like that little cup game you play as a kid. Which one is it researching in? But all the production facilities are getting taken out here. The add-on on the factory goes down. There's really no production.
And there's a good game, well played.
to play there. And, you know, Crabtastic has an awesome name and also likes building Hydralisk in your base, so I approve.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things that really sets the tone for the remainder of the match.
So true, Sean. Maybe.
You know, I can understand, you know, let's say it's the last game of the series and you like build a command center in the base. It can be a nice little way to sort of wrap the series up, but the series has only just begun. There's great Archon already hopping out of the booth. Second player from Team IBM, and Epic need to step in. But keep in mind, you know, if Epic starts to lose a lot of game, those Hydrals dens will be in vain.
That is true. You cannot be doing that in every single game right there. Look at him packing his stuff like a total boss, as he was your winner. And Sean, I just want to mention really quickly, the booth here is awesome.
It is great. The isolation booth where your opponent is literally right across from you. You can lean over and see the veins popping out in his forehead as he's trying to focus to kill you.
That is absolutely true. I was actually sitting in there wishing that I was playing games. It's great. And are we going to be seeing that at other events? Because I love that booth, Sean.
Oh, indeed. I mean, it's been at Red Bull events before.
That is true.
At this event now, I see no reason to throw it into the trash can at this point. Now, as these players are getting set up, it's going to be between Zai and Raised from Team IBM will be the next two players. And first of all, I want to begin with the map Shakura's Plateau, which has kind of had an interesting history in StarCraft 2. A lot of changes to it.
Oh yeah, they have changed that map a lot. And there's the winner. The team is celebrating quite heavily. But yeah, they have changed that map a lot. They've moved around destructible rocks, as Dustin Browder loves to do, and have changed it up quite a bit. And also, I've received about 19,000 tweets talking about Zai, as he is Sai Starcraft's brother.
Yeah, that's something interesting I found out. He spells it very similarly to, like, Sai. It's like he was going for the same consonant, just with a few different letters in there.
Yeah. And he was also telling me a little bit before that he plays random. He's masters in random, so he has a pretty good understanding of every matchup. I believe he did pick a race for this event, though, so he's not going to be playing as actual random in the matches.
Yeah, let's actually go ahead and take a look at our player plate for Zai. Zai, as you said, was a random player, but he interestingly in AHGL had the problem of always hitting random. But now Zai has chosen Protoss.
That is true.
And he managed to land a Protoss versus Protoss.
All right, there he is right there, looking quite handsome. And it's good to note that his pocket completely loaded with those pins, Sean. So very important.
True. Love that general look of style. And by the way, you can go to ahgl.tv, see all the information of all players and all teams. And you know, in terms of that other hobbies, he says that he is a good bowler, and I actually got the chance to talk to him a little bit about that. And you know, it's one of those.
It was really funny. We were talking before it as well, and I was just talking about like, hey, I may go to bowling, have some fun, and he was like telling me how the inside of the ball is made a special way so that it spins at a certain speed, and I'm like, well, I know who's going to win bowling. Like, here we go. He's like, he's going to be the strategy commentator, like while we're bowling, and apparently he bowls, man. Yeah,
you know, and I was already getting ready to have my sort of faux serious bowling commentary, and as someone who's never commentated bowling before, I don't see where the offense and the defense is. You know, I'd be with you. And I'd say, well, Mike, what do you think his strategy is going to be? And you'd say,
he's going to knock over all the pins here, Sean.
Try to knock those pins down, Sean. And so I said this, and I went, no, and actually started to say a lot about sort of bowling skill and strategy. So
I'm kind of excited about this, actually, that there is I should have studied up bowling commentary before I came to know the terminology of like when you hit the certain amount of pins. But there's going to be our next player.
His opponent is going to be Raised from Team Epic. Has been performing quite well throughout the season for Team Epic. And per usual is a regular old software engineer coming out from the Midwest. Both players getting set up and ready to step into that match on Shakura's Plateau. And given that we know that it's going to be a Protoss versus Protoss, I know people love to joke about the 4-gate, what that's like, but we haven't really seen it crop up too much on that map lately.
Yeah, and really in the matchup as a whole, there is a lot of different builds that you can go. If you get out of robotics extremely quickly, you can have an Immortal hold the ramp. Sentry is also pretty good at holding that. Yeah. And players have really figured out how to stop the 4-gate. So if we do see a 4-gate versus 4-gate, I would be a little bit surprised. I think we're going to be on like the 3rd StarCraft expansion, and everyone's still going to be like, this matchup's always a 4-gate versus 4-gate.
That's
even though, like,
true.
Yeah, it's people always say that, but at least when I've been playing on ladder, people don't do it as much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, the 4-gate has really phased out of style. style, it's always one of those strategies you kind of have to have a benchmark against. You have to make certain that you do have some way to defend against it.
Right.
So that means that you're going to have to throw down a few sentries here and there. You're going to have to get somewhat of an earlier work gate yourself anyways. But the matchup has become really interesting with, you know, Immortal openings.
Yep.
Phoenix openings also become
I hate those a lot, going against Phoenix openings, especially if a player knows how to micro well. They can just make you pull your hair out, Sean.
And you're pinned back home in your base with a Phoenix opening. I mean, they don't work very well in those direct engagements, you know, where he has 50 stalkers, so you lift one and then lose all your Phoenixes. But in terms of, in those early game situations, keeping your opponent home, because you'll pick off probes if he leaves, a very, very good way to control the game.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's going to be Blink Stalker openings, the Colossus, early Colossus push timings, there's Zealot Archon, and a lot of times on this map you will see an expansion actually be able to get set up, and the reason for that is you have a high ground advantage at your natural. Some maps it can be wide open, like Tal'Darim Altar, for example. You don't see his expansions as much in PvP. But on this map, we could potentially see that play, and again, Zai is a Master League random player, so he's played every matchup a million times. Yeah. And you can watch him stream and all of that goodness there.
You know, I honestly would not be that surprised to see these players be trying to go for something like kind of an early expand, just transitioning into the later game of PvP, because like you were talking about, that raised ramp at the natural expansion means that you really can go Colossus quite comfortably, quite quickly. And this will definitely give a big edge to whomever is able to get that double robo going early without overcommitting to defense. Because I think that's what cripples players who are still in that, oh my god, he's four-gating mindset.
Absolutely. Sean, intelligent as always. One thing you also have to watch out for on this map is the Blink Stalker. I mean, that's something that is useful really in any matchup for Protoss. But on this map, for this matchup, Blink Stalkers, they have so many different ways that they can get in and out of your base. And also, if they blink to depending on where you spawn, if they blink to the side that's protected by the rocks, that can be so frustrating because they can safely get in and out every single time. It can be very difficult to snipe the observer and prevent that. But oh my goodness, the countdown has begun.
And it's time for game number 2 between Epic Systems and IBM here at the AHGL Grand Finals. Well, right now Epic is up 1-0, Husky.
All right, Sean. Looks like he spent a lot of time typing that. Must have had that on the Control V right there. But spawning down in the bottom right side for Team Epic. Give a thunder stick clap for Raised.